Hi there, my name's James Orvis, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a track by Andreas Horvat, I think that's how you pronounce his name, called Mandinka Woman. I've got the track set up here so we can have a listen in Ableton, but it's got a really nice vocal in it as well, and it's got like this really nice eerie kind of synth that is really bendy, and it's got a lot of like pulse width modulation in it as well. Really simple sound, but I kind of liked it when I first heard this track, and it comes in around this time. It sounds great. So I'm just gonna play you two sections because I'm gonna show you how to make the lower octave synth section and the higher one. So this is the main one that happens when the track's rolling. So there's the first bit, and then we're also going to go through this bit as well. So we'll start with that section actually. If I just press solo on here, I'll take that off actually. I'll just quickly show you the sound that I've made and the MIDI pattern. Just got to make sure these are turned down. Yep. So it's like a bendy synth sound, so you can see these bits, the notes are overlapping, where it bends up and down, it glides slightly. And also the sound resets every time this note comes around the B note. And then it resets the LFO as well for the pulse width, which we'll get onto in a second. So yeah, I'm going to open up Pigments, and we're just going to turn off some of the effects. And also I'll turn off the filter for now, and we'll come to that in a bit. So we're just going to start with this square sound, and let me just turn off the LFOs as well so we can rebuild it. So the first thing to talk about is Analog Engine 1. We've only got one oscillator, so we're just using a square oscillator. And initially when you open up this and you click on a square, it sounds like this. But a big part of this sound is the movement of the pulse width. So you can see there, I can make the square thinner or larger. So that's basically how we get that kind of sound. And to get the movement from that, what I've done is set up LFO1. So LFO1 I've sent to oscillator 1 width, so you can see that it starts to move. Now the way this works, I didn't want the oscillator to just keep repeating on itself, I mean the LFO repeating on itself, and I didn't want to do it manually either. I wanted it to be quite similar to the original sound, but automatic, so I can just press play and it'll rotate around the modulation. So the way that I've done this is if I press a note, you can see that the LFO resets. If I make the notes glide, the LFO shape carries on. So that's how I'm able to get the similar shape to the original track. Now the way to do this, first of all, I've set up a glide to glide through the notes. So I've got that set up at 200 milliseconds, and also set this to legato mode as well. And this also resets on legato as well. So I've set it to poly keyboard. And that's basically, sorry, I'm on the wrong one there. Poly keyboard, legato keyboard, this one here. So that's how you get that continuation and the resetting depending on what you do with the note. And what I've done here is set up 2-1 for the sync rate, and also move the phase as well. So that was quite a key part of it, because towards the end of the notes, before it resets again, I wanted it to hit this high point, so the pulse width is all the way open. I've noticed on the original track, the sound kind of disappears a little bit more, so my guess is that they've used a synth where the pulse width actually goes a little bit thinner. But I've done my best I can with Pigments. So yeah, the way that I've set the phase up is like it always starts at this point and it always ends around this point as well within the phrase. So there you go, there's LFO1. And also, I'm not sure if this was on the original track, but I've sent the LFO to filter 1 cut off as well. So if I just bring the filter on, we've got a little bit of movement in there as well. Before we move on to the filter settings, I'm just going to quickly talk about Unison. So you can see that I've got Unison set up to 2. So we've got 2 instances of this oscillator spread across the stereo field using the stereo knob. And then I've also detuned it ever so slightly. Like normally, I have a tendency when creating my own patches to do this, which sounds lovely, and you could probably do that if you wanted to recreate this for your own tracks. But if I want to stick to the original sound, so I only brought the detune in just slightly. Let's move over to the filter. So really simple stuff, just a multi-mode filter. Cut-off's quite high, and then I've added quite a bit of resonance to really bring out those top frequencies. Keyboard I've not touched, and I've got this set to 24 dB. Really simple stuff, like I said, on the filter. And let's see what else we've got going on. So this stuff with LFO2 I'm going to come back to in a second when we talk about the higher octave. So before we do that, next thing to talk about is the effects. And let me just switch this on and turn these off. So we've got 3 effects set up. We've got width folder, which is to add a little bit of grit and distortion. Only a little bit, just to kind of bring out more tones in the sound. And then we've got delay. So the delay and the reverb are to catch those silence bits in this, because when I initially tried to recreate the sound, I put these notes all the way across, and then after further inspection I realised that actually there is a gap in the notes, and the reverb and delay carries it on, so it sounds like a continuation of the note, but it's not, it's using effects. So delay, I've got this set to 1/8 dotted, and then got a little bit of feedback, ping pong delay. Stereo width I brought down a little bit, and then a bit of tone shaping, just shaving off the low end and the top end, and we get this. So you just get that subtle tail at the end, and then again with the reverb, same thing. These are pretty much standard settings, apart from I played around with the decay a little bit and the stereo width, and also cut off some of the low frequencies and top frequencies. So let's just have a quick listen with this on as well. So there's a few elements there, obviously, what make up the sound. One, we've got the pulse width on the square, with the LFOs, working that, and we've also got the Unison, we've got the filter set up to boost the higher frequencies, and the glide as well on the keyboard section, and also the effects. They're like the main components of the sound. So let's move over to the other section and listen to the original again. So you'll notice it's in a higher octave, which I've done here. I've just pushed the notes up an octave. Exactly the same riff, and then also you'll notice that there's a bit of like tremolo action going on as well. So instead of doing full-on tremolo on the pitch or the volume, what I've used is the filter. I thought it worked quite nicely with that. Actually, to be honest, I could probably go back and try it again with volume. I think it might actually work a little bit better. But yeah, I've done it with the filter. So yeah, let's take a look at what these mod wheels are doing to get us that vibrato sound. So in fact, first we'll look at mod wheel 1. So this was just a little extra that I put in because I wanted to be able to dampen the sound. And that's basically just sending this to filter 1 and then just kind of dampening it as I open it up. That's not in the original, but it's just something I wanted to play around with. And then macro 2, we've got this set up to, let me just try and work this out again. So yeah, it's bringing down the resonance as the vibrato goes up, because I wanted to, we've got the resonance quite high, and obviously when you start to bring this down into lower register, it kind of boosts all those mid frequencies and it didn't sound right. So yeah, it brings the resonance down, all the way down actually. And then also I've sidechained these little bits that are going on in LFO2, so I'll switch them on. These are modulating the fine tune of the oscillator there. So it's kind of moving the tuning a little bit. and then also filter 1 cut off. So if I bring these up, you can see that moving there on the filter, and you can see it moving on fine tune. Again, I could have done this actually with volume, which we might try as well and see if it sounds better. So yeah, let's just bring this up and I'll show you what it's doing. And with the LFO, you can see the settings that I've got set up here. So we've just got 1/16, and I've set it to triangle. It seemed to work best for this. And then the phase as well, I kind of just moved it around until I felt it was right. So I put it about here. And the other thing that I was going to show you was maybe if we turn off the filter one, and maybe if I send it to the volume instead. Let's try that. So I don't want it going both ways. Let me just see if I can sort this out. Actually, that should be fine. Let's just try this. Sidechain it as well to macro 2. Put that all the way up. That's actually much better. So yeah, it does work better. Use the volume on filter 1 instead of using the cutoff, because it just sounds way better. I could probably keep up 10. Where is it on here? So I could probably actually take off this resonance thing now. Now I'm not doing that. So let me just try it now. Yeah, that's much better. In fact, I'm going to save that now because I feel like I've improved the preset a little bit. So I've saved that. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Hope you've enjoyed that and it's been inspiring. If there's any tunes that you'd like us to cover, like recreate sounds from your favourite tracks, or if there's something that's just come out and it's kind of blowing your mind and you want to know how they made it, drop us a comment below and we'll do our very, very best to cater for that and put those into our schedule and deliver the content that you want. If there's any questions as well regarding, like, if you're stuck with production, like if there's anything that's bothering you and you're trying to kind of get your head around it, let us know as well if you're struggling, and maybe we'll bring out some content that'll help you in your struggles. Thank you for watching. My name's James Orvis, and I will catch you next time.